Welcome to TradersArmy.com, defending your right to build wealth and preserve capital for generations to come. Wednesday. What's up, everybody? It's the Wednesday edition of the Daily Market Commentary. It is February the 12th. The markets are up about 12 points. The Nasdaq's up about 46 points. And we're really seeing about the same thing that we have in gold and crude for the last few days. A whole lot of nothing. Before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get the alerts and the updates as they happen. If you are a returning visitor, do me a favor, leave a like, leave a comment on the page. It helps the computers to know that people are actually watching. And then also, if you would, share this on social media. Let other people help to grow the channel. Okay, let's dive in. S&P this morning, we're up about 12. Yesterday, I talked about a potential for a little bit of a breakout. We did get a little bit of a pop above that level, a little bit of a pullback, and really it's gone nowhere. Not a whole lot of change since that point. If you waited for a retracement after the pullback, you had another little entry right through here. This was not my preferred entry because it's not the preferred time of day for me. However, that was a pretty good little level because it was a retest of a prior high. So based on that, you know, where we are today, if we get a little bit of a pop, you may want to wait for a retest back into some of these demand areas if we get a little bit of a pop up there today. We're definitely seeing our momentum has been waning a little bit, seeing a little bit of a slowing of momentum even on the hourly chart. And so that slowing of momentum could be something that we need to just kind of keep in mind. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be getting long. I'm just going to wait for the right setup for a long opportunity. As you can see, we got plenty of demand areas down below us, and certainly there's no supply above us, so there's no areas to go short. Same thing in the NASDAQ. You can see that the NASDAQ, we didn't quite make it down to the quality area of demand here. This is still a quality demand zone if price comes back in and gives us that little bit of a retest. Taking a look at crude oil. So in crude, we have a little bit of sideways price action. Once again, not a whole lot has changed over the last few days. We've actually stayed above 50 for the last couple of days. Seems like 50 is a decent whole round number level of support. I still think, though, that prices have a better probability to continue to trade down. So while we have a little level of demand down here on the hourly chart, that is certainly not an hourly level of demand that I would be looking to get long on a limit entry, potentially a confirmation entry, but that's the only possible way that I would be interested in that, because my big picture trend is continuing to head down. So this is actually setting up for a further breakdown to the next leg. And like I said earlier in the week, you know, I believe there's a chance we may even make it all the way down to this 45 range. Don't know for certain if we will, but there is that as a possibility. Gold, for those of you that took our Iron Condor in gold, it was a 5-day Iron Condor we talked about on Monday morning. You got 2 days left. We're still inside of the area, but coming close to a supply level right in this region. We did have a little bit of a tweezer top yesterday in the morning hours, and that tweezer top left in its wake a pretty decent little area of supply for an opportunity to get short. Looking at our bonds and currency markets, if I slide over to those right quick, we had the ZN, which we said yesterday has really not been in an ideal situation to do anything, and it's still not. Did get a little bit of a sell-off through here that we may see a bit of a reversal back up to. That was at the market close yesterday. But with all these upper wicks here, that's a little bit less probable. So I want to go just a little bit in front of there. So sliding down to maybe the 15-minute chart. No, see, I looked at this little level here, but that's already been touched once. It was touched at a poor time of day. So this, I guess, is theoretically a level that's worth looking into right in here. Very small area, though, so just keep that in mind as you head into it. In the Aussie, we hit our supply level, got a nice little move away. I just frankly forgot to pull this line off yesterday, but I kept it on primarily because oftentimes old supply will act as new demand, and that's what we saw here. Price acted and retraced back down here into this demand zone and is continuing to trend higher. So our 4-hour trend is giving us a little bit of upward momentum. We put in a little double bottom here. This is actually a much bigger double bottom in this scale. So there's a small double bottom in the 4 hour, which is actually a much bigger double bottom right here. And in a true double bottom, you want to have the second low lower than the first low. So it should be a little bit of a crooked double bottom, if you will. And that'll show up probably much more cleanly on the daily chart. So on the daily chart, that's showing up a little bit more cleanly. So if we, I said this yesterday, if we get above this 67.82, we've got definitely room for price to rally up out of this region. So if you want to be a little bit premature and get in on one of these areas of demand, look for a little bit of a pullback, potentially even back into this region here as a chance to get long. A little bit premature, technically still not an uptrend, but it might be a good way to hop in on the bigger picture trend as it would form. Inside of the euro, yesterday I talked a little bit about the euro. If we had the short below this region, that worked out for a really nice little setup. We said if you're interested, you can take another little short. We got a nice little breakdown here, and then 6 candles later it had done basically nothing. Didn't get above the pivot, which would be way up here for a stop out, and so I think there's still a chance price could come down from this region as we're continuing a little bit more bearish. If you got in it and you're still in it, then I would say that it has a chance to continue to move, but it's probably not as strong of a probability as it was yesterday. And you may want to look ahead for better levels of supply for a reversal trade. And that looks like it would probably be up here in this region. Next would be the Canadian dollar, and our Canadian dollar is moving just a little bit up. We had a little bit of a breakout above this area, as we talked a little bit about yesterday. We broke out above, and then we were unable to really do a whole lot with it. Popped up, broke down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles later, it had done nothing. Did not go below where a stop out would be, but it hadn't really done a whole lot. So you may have gotten out, and if you did, then you got out at about a break-even point. It's run up a little bit since then, and we've seen a little bit more bullish momentum kind of coming in. So, but we do have that supply level up above us that could be a decent little reversal point. So keep an eye on that level above us. And then as we slide over, last but not least, to the Great British Pound and Japanese Yen, inside of the pound, we are seeing the supply level is still here up above us. I think this is still a really good area, really good opportunity if indeed we do return. Moving up, this is continuing to kind of rally a bit higher on the 4 hour. So if you get a small time frame pullback, I think there could be an opportunity in a small time frame pullback somewhere around this region in here. So keep an eye on this region here for a little bit of a pullback. Mind you, that's a 15-minute chart. So 15-minute charts always have slightly lower degrees of probability. And then last but not least is the Japanese yen. So in the yen, we came down and hit our level. It was a confirmation level simply because it was a fairly, a bigger picture downward trend. And so that was a confirmation entry, probably not a fill for most traders out there. Frankly, shouldn't have been a fill based on our overall trend direction. As we continue to rally, if we pop up, you could get a little bit of a return back into this region here. So keep an eye on the origin of our move down that happened in the right there at the Asian market opens or European market opens earlier today. So not a whole heck of a lot going on here as far as today goes. It could be a fairly quiet day. Remember, if you are an options trader, that this sets up very well for options trading. And if you've got any questions, please send us an email, support@tradersarmy.com. Until tomorrow, everybody, have a great day. I will see you.